Hi, folks. Matt here. Thanks for stopping by again. Always good to see you. Hey, listen, let me start by asking you a question to provoke some thought here. If you were a 14-year-old or so and you wanted to make some summer money, you were, not in school, it was summertime, and there was a golf course that allowed you to snorkel for 1 hour, and they gave you a basket to fill up with balls. Okay, the pond was next to a driving range, and there were 3 different colored balls they used: white, yellow, and red. But they weren't paying any money for the yellow and red balls. They were paying money, $1 each, for the white balls. And you were given an hour or one basket, whatever happened first, to fill up. What balls would you grab to fill up the basket with? Would it be the white balls that paid money, or the red and yellow balls that didn't pay any money? Hopefully the white balls that pay money, right? So with that being said, let me read you a definition, the first sentence of the definition. I'll put the entire link in the description of this video, but confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. And there are a couple other sentences there, but like I said, I'll put it in the link. But take that and apply it to all the research that these college professors, graduate students, teaching assistants, assistant professors, and even people that are independently searching for proof of global warming. They're using this confirmation bias because the government is only paying them for data that shows evidence of global warming. For example, that picture of the glacier that they show over and over again that has obviously shrunk since 1900. They're not showing you the glaciers that have grown, correct? They won't even show you both because the aggregate, the net information there shows no man-made global warming. They show that there's global warming in some locations, but it's also getting colder in other locations. They're not interested in that. As a matter of fact, there was even a college professor in Eastern Washington who skewed his data, and he left out several of the hottest weeks, months, and years in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, so it appeared cooler back then to steepen the curve in the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. He cheated to get paid. As a matter of fact, there's so much money involved that from 1993 to 2014, over $166 billion was spent by our federal government to gather research on global science. And they only wanted proof of global warming. And that's why people, by the way, that $166 billion, that was in 2012 dollars, the value then in 2012. So think about the 14-year-old who gathered these balls, and that's a lot of money. I mean, a basket of balls, 200 or 300 balls, that's $200 or $300. He was influenced to pick up the balls that only paid money. Okay, and he had no electric bill, car payment, car insurance, mortgage, rent, grocery bill, kids to support. He had nothing, just a footloose, fancy-free kid enjoying his or her summer break, making some money. Okay, now take that same financial influence and apply it to a college person that I mentioned, an assistant professor, a graduate student, professor, you get it. And these folks are profoundly more influenced by this money because they've got bills to pay. They might have a wife, they might live in student married housing with a kid and maybe another one on the way, car payment, insurance. Their spouse may want to move out into a house. So they are, like I said, the influence by this money is pronounced when you have a lot of bills to pay. And they're literally bribed to get this data, and only the data that shows the spots that are warming and the one glacier that's obviously melted. When I was a kid, I was in first grade in, I was 5 years old in 1970, 71. I was in first grade around then. And back then, I remember vividly, they showed an animation of the globe was freezing then. And I remember vividly the animation of the ice sheet coming down Lake Michigan freezing, and it even dipping into Indiana, the upper third of Indiana, the northern third. And I grew up in Indianapolis and Lebanon, Indiana, and I remember coming home and really worried about this. And my dad talked me off the cliff. He said it's just nonsense. But isn't it nonsense that they would do that by itself, and then within a few years just flip from the globe is going to freeze to the globe is going to now boil over? Just amazing. So apply all this confirmation bias over the last 25 years, and it has buttressed, all this skewed data has buttressed our belief and everybody's belief in man-made global warming. What's interesting is I grew up during both the freezing and the warming, but you've got an entire generation who has only witnessed the skewed data portion and the dogma, the false dogma that man is creating, I should say humankind is creating a super hot planet. Thanks for listening, folks. I'd appreciate it if you click the share button and share it to your friends to get a conversation started. And talk to you next time. See you soon.